Welcome to DrM's Vodcast, a vodcast with a mission to connect continuous improvement professionals across the world.
Great. Welcome to all of you all, and here we go. So welcome to Dr. M's launch, and there was a confusion between Nest and Dr. M's launch. I want to make it clear that all the community members of Nest are welcome to share their knowledge from whatever platform they want, so long as it is knowledge sharing. And we will find out what knowledge means from Dr. Najjar. All my episodes on Dr. M's podcast, Dr. M's launch, Dr. M's SMET show is dedicated to my sensei, Masaki Mai. Now you came on Dr. M's podcast, I don't know which month it was. That was on the 61st episode, and you spoke to us about skills first for transformation towards organizational learning. And thank you very much for coming back to us, Doc. Thank you very much. And this is what we're going to talk about, an introduction to knowledge management for lean practitioners, securing a flow of expertise for sustained Kaizen. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, thanks, because I can't see you also. So here we go. It's recognized as a thought leader in the knowledge management and ranked among the top 120 globally in 2024. And right now, I'm sure he would have escalated to about 50, 60, I don't know where. Among the top 50 in tacit knowledge management in 2023. With over 15 years experience, he's specialized in aligning knowledge management and learning strategies with organizational goals by pioneering expertise based on knowledge management to promote competency-based learning and technical problem solving. He does view AI as a tool to extend human capabilities in learning and skill development and knowledge acquisition. In 2024, he founded 3R Knowledge Services, which offers expertise-based knowledge management practices and developed a proprietary 1 degree of separation methodology. Rachad led General Electric's Vernova's Learning and Knowledge Management Program in 2013 and 2024, and that has created a history by itself. You did that with Daniel Rante, right?
Yes, together with Daniel Ranta.
Yeah. And served as a knowledge advisor for Dubai government agency from 2008 to 2012, contributing to EFQM Excellence Award. Done his PhD in Industrial Engineering, two masters in software and hardware. He co-authored a book and published extensively collaborating dynamics in virtual teams. Over to you. You make me very nervous with the qualification that you have. But today's session is on Introduction to Knowledge Management for Lean Practitioners, securing the flow and expertise for sustained Kaizen. Over to you, Doc.
Yes, my pleasure, Dr. M, to be on your lounge. This is my second participation. It's really an honor to be among you, especially with the Lean community. So I'd like also to thank you for being visionary and trying to bridge and create bridges between knowledge management and lean management. This is a topic that I've been extensively working with Colleen, my friend and business partner. She's a great partner and great friend. So, and together with you, Dr. M, we want to promote knowledge management. And this is exactly the objective of this session. We are not going really to be, by the end of this session, to be a knowledge manager. Instead, we want to clarify and raise awareness where a lean practitioner can get the help and the support from knowledge management. What are the commonalities, the interfaces, the overlapping areas where we can build together those bridges? And this is where we want to establish this collaboration between knowledge management and lean management. On my screen, I shared this question on purpose prior to this session, and I wanted to assess the level of awareness. How aware are you with respect to knowledge management? And without no surprise to me, the majority of the responses are little bit familiar, moderately familiar, because to my knowledge, there are very few sessions, very few work has been done to integrate or to connect knowledge management with lean management. And this is exactly what we are going to do today. And this session, it will be interactive. So this is the first question. It will be interactive. But also throughout the presentation, we will pause. I will put another question, get your responses, and interact together. If that's good for you, then we can kick off the session and start with the fundamentals. So maybe I'll spend 15 minutes sharing the fundamentals of knowledge management, and then we'll try to establish those connections and move to a more advanced topics. So first of all, let me kick off my presentation and yes, and start with uh, a basic definition, fundamental definition of knowledge. Although there are no universal or consensus about what is knowledge, however, I selected two definitions that best fit my experience and my understanding. The first one is very ancient definition coming from Plato, and Plato defined knowledge as justified true belief. So if you believe in something and you work to find evidence and you justify this belief, then it becomes knowledge. The second definition coming from Larry Prusak, one of the prominent figures in knowledge management. And to summarize his definition, I will tell you this story about Larry Prusak. In one day, he was interviewed and he was asked if you have $100 and if you wanted to invest those $100 in knowledge management, how would you distribute the 100? He said $99 will go to people and $1 only will go to technology. So that's how he understands and how he define knowledge management or knowledge specifically. What I'd like also to share with you the fundamentals is the form of knowledge. There are misconceptions in the industry and even within our community. They classify knowledge as two types, explicit and tacit. Instead, there are not types, there are forms of knowledge. So knowledge can be expressed explicitly. So explicit knowledge, which means documented, written down knowledge, and tacit knowledge, which is experiential knowledge, the knowledge that is in our head. It's very personal, very individual, hard to codify, and it's very individualized and based on the context and our own experiences. So we have a rough estimation. 20% of knowledge is explicit and 70% of knowledge is tacit. And this is why decision making, judgment, intuition have a big value and has a lot of weight in organizational decisions and in every kind of improvement action. So now I'm gonna switch again to our interactive poll. And what I'd like you to answer is when you go to the Gamba, which type of knowledge you primarily encounter. So let me bring back our interactive uh, poll and switch to the second question. And this question will be now about the Gamba. So when you go to the Gamba and you do the observation, which primarily form of knowledge do you observe? Tacit knowledge, explicit knowledge, or both? Yeah, so go to the same link. If you went to the link and you answered the first question, it's the same link, the same code. Just answer the second question. Well, results are coming. We are seeing an advancement in terms of tacit, second explicit, and then, okay, so tacit is gaining over explicit. So we have only 4 responses. Who else? What about when we go to Gamba? What do we observe? And this is what I'd like to learn from you as a lean community. This is what we are trying. This is more a session to establish those links between knowledge and lean. Both equally. That's interesting. Both equally. And this is exactly where will be my second question or follow-up question. When you observe someone working in the Gamba, in the shop floor, where work actually happens, do you intervene? Do you ask the person, what are your documentation, your standard operating procedures, your A3 sheet, or you just observe without intervening? You observe the decisions, you observe the flow, you observe, let's say, the options. What kind of knowledge do you observe? Mhm. Okay, so we have tacit still leading. And by the way, anyone would like to comment and to state his or her own experience, whether it is tacit, explicit, or both, please feel free just to jump in and tell us all about your experience and your thinking. Okay, so I see it is tacit. So in fact, those decision making and those intuitions and those, yes, go ahead, Dr. M.
Yeah, that's the reason why I put up the hand is that since I'm dedicating it to sensor, when we are trained to go to Gamba, we never ask a question to them as to what they are doing. When we ask them the question what they are doing, I get the explicit answer what they should be doing. So we normally go and ask the question, show me what you're doing. And that's where we come to know exactly what you're doing. And that gives us the knowledge basis exactly what it is. Now, to answer your question, it'll be more of the explicit knowledge of the standard operation procedure that they're following.
That gives a well-rounded answer. Okay, so that's a great explanation, Dr. M. Thank you. Let us transition to really raise awareness. What if someone working outside knowledge management and someone who has not an idea about knowledge management, so what he or she will think knowledge management is about? In fact, there is an image, a perception for non-knowledge managers that knowledge management is a system, a technology, an information system that IT is responsible on. They buy licenses, they deploy it, they do some training on that tool, and then the manager asks, what is the return on investment? This is exactly, if I tell you, Lean community, Lean is about 5S, A3 problem sheet, the value stream mapping, what other tools, the 5 whys, the root cause analysis, the Kanban, as if I reduce Lean to the tool set or the toolkit. This is exactly how knowledge management is somehow perceived. However, knowledge management is more than toolkit or more than a system, and it is really the fraction is the tool. So knowledge management is about the environment, the ecosystem, the culture, the people. And lean management is about respect for people, respect for the human, develop the human growth. And exactly knowledge management is about developing the expertise, the human capabilities, the human skills. It's not about a technology to deploy it, configure it, and do a training. It's all about those enablers, culture, motivation, care, and I will state later on what I've learned from Colleen and the Mandemi. I love Mandemi, but I will keep it for later on. So knowledge management is really about creating the space where the human can develop and can promote his or her skills. So there is an approach, and this is more promoted by the vendors, by technology vendors. Companies who have a platform to sell, they promote knowledge management as a document or content. So this is one approach promoted by technology vendors. So you will listen like the motivation behind the content or document approach is getting the right information to the right person in the right time. This slogan is driven by technology. So there are a lot of work is done to design the platform, to design the taxonomy, to design the ontology, to do some knowledge graph. So all those concepts belong to the content or document or technology-driven knowledge management. However, in my company, and the fundamentals of true knowledge management, it's about creating relationships. Knowledge management is the engine of relationships. How you can connect a person to another so they can engage in a discussion, in a dialogue, so they can exchange their tacit knowledge. Here, remember tacit knowledge, the one inside our head. So how we can design that space so people can trust each others, so they can share, exchange knowledge, build the trusted relationship. And on that, I will switch to the definition of ISO. ISO definition is very standard, generic, and very process oriented. So ISO define knowledge management as the process concerned with improving identification, creation, analysis, representation of knowledge to create organizational value. So this is very generic and common definition. Our definition at 3R is more practice oriented. So we define knowledge management as a process to create adaptive space. So we want to design the space, the communities. We want where tacit knowledge, this is the goal, tacit knowledge can be collectively co-constructed and then can be transferred to others around different corners in the organization to build expertise and to build capabilities, human capabilities. So it's not about the technology or deploying a system, do training, and then calculate the return on investment. And here's another story, real world story to show the importance of tacit knowledge, of expertise. And it happened in a hospital, in fact. And this is where also a story to differentiate between skills and expertise and to define expertise versus skills. So here, a competent nurse enters the patient room focused carefully on placing the blood pressure cuff around the patient's arms. Following exact procedures, the nurse examines the monitor. She's reading the data from the monitor. And her attention is on executing the task flawlessly, demonstrating technical competence and reliability. She's a competent performer. In a second room in the same hospital, then you have an experienced nurse, a nurse with expertise. So she immediately, when she entered the room, she immediately scans the whole situation, picking up on subtle cues. She notices the patient's breathing, a slightly labored, heavy breathing, a faint change in the skin color. The skin color has changed, a restless hand grip. So there's no effort, no energy with the patient, a shift in the heart rhythm. So she combined all those observations that she does. She observed the patient, room, circumstances, and then she combined those observations with the data coming from the monitor. So she immediately decided to report the situation to the doctor. In fact, the expert nurse didn't ignore the rule. She didn't ignore the standard operating procedure. She has internalized them so deeply in her brain to focus entirely on anomalies, deviations from the standard operating procedure. So taking preventive actions and sensing the riskier situation before it happens. And to give you a very straightforward definition of what expertise is, and this is how we define it. So expertise is the alignment and integration of three components. Component number one, people. So it's your peers who recognize your expertise. It's not your certificate or your HR department. It's your colleagues who recognize your expertise. So this is the people social dimension. Second component is knowledge. And this is, I love what Sir Demings, William Edward Demings, he said, the purpose of knowledge is prediction. And prediction requires theory. And theory requires validated data. So whoever has knowledge based on Demings, he or she can interpret data with a theory. So they can explain the cause-effect relationship. And they can predict the result based on the theory. So this combination between theoretical framework and practical data, the cause-effect relationship, only an expert can interpret and analyze and give meaning to the observed data and relate them to the theory or to the knowledge. And the third component is capabilities. Capabilities, what is an expert? An expert, he or she can provide novel solutions to non-routine tasks. If the task is a routine, if the task is repetitive, then the expert is a specialist. For example, I am troubleshooting my internet router. I repeat the same steps to fix the internet router. I am a specialist. But an expert, he or she can provide a novel solution, original, innovative solution to non-routine tasks, to situations that has never seen before. And here's my next question, and let me switch back to the interactive session and get you another question and learn from you as Aline. And let me show this slide. And here's a question for you to learn from. In which areas does uncaptured expert knowledge, uncaptured expertise, most often lead to process failures? And it's to you to tell me what are the situations where the lack of expertise lead to process failures. Yep. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so it's the same link again, same link. Switch to the next question. Yes, all of them and others. Exactly. Okay, so who else? Who else can answer? Colleen, you are exempted from answering because you are driving and we care about you. We have only one Colleen. Dr. M, you are on mute. On mute.
And is getting used to scanning his QR code. I have no tacit knowledge, no explicit knowledge or skills in this.
You are a visionary.
Yeah, I just got my cataract removed.
Yeah, so anyone would like to comment and tell us more, and I'd like to learn from you as Lean, those situations where really tacit knowledge, expert knowledge, expertise, when they are missed, it will cost us a lot of quality, a lot of, heavy cost. obviously, it's all of them. Imagine in a critical situation, an emergency, because why in an emergency we don't go back to a document? We call on someone, we call the expert. But this is exactly because why? Because why the expert has the tacit knowledge, this experiential, situational knowledge about what is happening now, and then the expert can draw analogies or similarities, can make abstraction, and can have this intuition and make decision on the spot. A document will not give you how much you can document deviations and situations that cover all the anomalies. This is where tacit knowledge is really important. Okay, perfect. So we have a consensus about all of them. So let's continue. Let's continue with this question, and this is how I'm going to transition. To my next slide. Okay, so here's my question right now. Does expertise develop the same way in every organization, or does we have multiple archetypes, multiple models on how expertise is developed at organization? So throughout scientific research, throughout our experience, we find out 5 major types of organizations where expertise is developed differently. So expertise development process is different in those 5 types, 5 archetypes of organizations. The first one is a hero organization. And in a hero organization, expertise are individual. So we have heroes, we have individual expertise, and expertise are singular. So for example, a startup company will recruit a senior sales manager or senior marketing manager, and then they will recruit junior staff, supporting staff. The senior is the hero, and the sales is done through the senior personal network because he is the hero. And the success and the failure of the project or the sales in this case is totally 100% coming from the hero, the senior expertise. So this is and what are some types of behaviors, or what are some kind of patterns that we see in this type of organization? For example, I joined newly a company and I'm searching for a standard operating procedure about thermal management system. And I searched the systems, the libraries, the documents. I didn't find. I wrote an email. Hey, guys, please, can you help me with finding the document? And then John will jump and will say, "Don't worry, buddy. This is your document that you are searching for." So John is my hero. And every single time I need something, I go to John. So John is my go-to person. So how many times we found ourselves in a situation where we go to again and again to the same person because he's my hero. And this is a hero organization. So how to overcome it? How to go from hero to systems, and what companies do about that? So this is where the shift goes to systems. And in systems organization, companies or organizations assume by deploying a quality management system, a learning management system, a knowledge management system, they streamline their expertise development process. So by having a common and a repeated process and a system, we are streamlining our expertise development process. This is an assumption. What will happen in reality? In reality, the rate of change is faster than the document can be modeled or the process can be documented. And by the time the process is documented, the process is obsolete. Why? Because the work never happens in a single function. Work is cross-functional. Decisions are cross-functional. Tacit knowledge is inside the people head. People goes, leave, and come back. So we can never capture something that is dynamic. How we can capture and make something up to date if it is constantly changing? That's why we always find ourselves, our documentation are obsolete or incomplete. Even if they are relevant, they are incomplete. So here, companies, they try to overcome the systems organization by connecting and flattening down the organization. So moving from hierarchies, from structures, from systems, from processes to more connected organization. So this is where they start to launch communities, affinity groups, committees, working sessions, task force. I've seen a lot of companies launching task force. So what will happen by the time they go and they launch? In the first few weeks, the energy is so high. So everyone is motivated, everyone has energy. We want to work in this committee, in this community, or whatever, join a task force, and slowly the energy will fade away. And slowly we will go back to square root number one. We go back to firefighting. So we have an urgency in a client, and we call again John, our hero. Please go firefight our client issues. And we go back and we repeat the same mistakes. And we never question if there's another way to do so. We never self-reflect. We never ask, is there a different way to do that? Because we are still operating in an echo chamber. So we are still reproducing the same set of expertise without stepping backward or having double loop learning and questioning the underlying root cause. Why this has happened at first place? What are our assumptions? What are our biases that we need to get rid of so we avoid having this situation one more time? So I will stop at networking because moving to explorative and curious or learning organization is very difficult. And trust me, there are very few companies in the world which we can say they are explorative and they are curious. Deploying a learning management system, as I mentioned earlier, does not mean you are a learning organization. Okay, so what else? What we have? Okay, so to move, to move from one type to another, we have a methodology, a very structured methodology where we can move from one type to another. And then I would like to showcase one specific activity, my favorite activity in this methodology. It's called expertise architecture, number 4. Here is the expertise architecture. Expertise architecture, we do workshops and we follow the methodology. And by the end of this expertise architecture activity, we produce the expertise architecture. So this architecture is not how your documents are connected. It's not how your teams are connected. It's not how your content, information systems are connected. This is where your people are living and how they are working and how they are connected. So inside, for example, the bubble, there are a set of people connected together. They are working together, sharing the same language, the same expertise, the same vocabularies, the same pain, the same competencies. They are homogeneous. They look like the same. They speak the same language. And for example, and this architecture defines the flow of knowledge. Flow, this is a fundamental concept in Lean, flow. This defines the flow of knowledge, how knowledge flows from one domain to another. For example, and this architecture defines interfaces. So if there are an interface topic between R&D and product design and development, for example, this interface topic is battery management system. Who are the expertise that are needed from both domains, from R&D and from product design, that we need to involve them to work together simultaneously, concurrently, to solve battery management system. The R&D engineer will focus on the cell chemistry and the heating curve. The engineer will focus on designing the thermal plates to absorb heat. And the product design will focus on complying with industry regulations, and whether this product fit the cost and do the cost analysis. So those three expertise need to work together to produce the battery management system. And inside this bubble, there is the community. The community is different than a team by design and by structure. So traditionally, a team is a hierarchy. You have the senior position, the highest in the hierarchy, and then you have your team members, and the team members you have then the execution, and you have the experts, and you delegate. You delegate tasks, and the skills inside a team, they are complementary. They don't look like the same. In a community, all the expertise, all the profiles, they look like the same. They are homogeneous. And the level of engagement is defined by how much participation, involvement, engagement I give to my community. So the lower the level of engagement, I am transactional. The higher the engagement is, I am a core. So this is how we define a community versus a team, and this is how we differentiate. And now back to you and another question. And let me switch to our interactive poll. And this is where I'd like to learn from you. I will show the next question. And then, yes, so here's my question to you where I'd like to learn. In terms of lean, the lean word, where does an expertise-based community create the strongest alignment with lean core principles? Yes, yes. So where do you see this alignment? Yokotan, lateral knowledge deployment, sharing practices, sharing countermeasures, similarly in other areas and function where we have similarities, or catchball, this continuous reciprocal dialogue, catchball. And we wrote together an article with Colleen, the expertise-driven catchball as part of Hoshin Cannery strategy deployment. And we can share this link to that article. It's a very nice article. Or both equally. Yes, so personally, my answer is both equally. And there's one third principle that I'd like to show, to express it and to show my appreciation to it. And thank you, Colleen, for teaching me this concept, Mandemi. We care for others, we care for humanity, Mandemi. And community is a core reason why a community exists, because we care. And the way I understand Mandemi, being a big family. So why I share a painful experience with my brother, sister, or a family member? Because I deeply care about my family. I want I want them to avoid the pain that I went through. I want to prevent future suffering for my family and or relatives, because I care about them. And this is a community. Why I belong to a community? Because I care about others, because I want to give them my knowledge, my experience, and I want to learn from them. So this is reciprocal. This is what makes bonding between family members and between community. And then the benefit comes from a community around the Yokoten, lateral sharing and catchballs, the continuous dialogue to co-create a decision. So it's not imposed a top-down approach. It is consensual. We agree mutually, we agree on the decision. This is catchball. And I'm happy with the result, both equally, yes. And on top of that, Mandemi. So let me move to a demo. What about a demo? Do you like a demo? So this is very nice theoretical knowledge, but in practice, what does it look like a community and how it is done, a community, and what we can do with a community? Yes. So let me show. Yeah, you can see my screen. So we developed Flow, an expertise-based knowledge management platform, and it is centric around communities and people development. And those cards, every card is a bubble. And behind those bubbles, remember, I will bring back quickly the expertise architecture. So you remember this expertise architecture? Every bubble is a community, and they are interconnected behind the scenes. So every card here is that bubble, and those are interconnected. And if I go inside one community, for example, electric vehicle, this is how we can look at a community. We can look at a community from different angles. So if I am a business process owner, or I am owning a piece, a component, if I am a component owner, and this is one of our client projects in the automotive industry. They were transitioning from ICE vehicle to electric vehicles. So we help them to connect their factory and their manufacturing site by deploying communities around their different manufacturing sites. So one way to look at it from component point of view, and remember the battery packs and the thermal management system. So we created the first component, battery packs and or systems. And within this component, we can curate the different skills. What are the skills needed? So battery cells chemistry coming from R&D. So we did not reproduce the official organization structure, how the organization is structured. No, instead, we recreated the areas of expertise by component in this example. Or if we don't want to gather or group expertise by component, we can group them by content. So if I have a discussion or if I have an article or a document, we can also group expertise by content. Or I can group expertise by skills, or I can look at that community from expertise point of view. So for example, if I go to the battery management system, is that area of expertise, and I click on that battery management system, dynamically and automatically, the battery management system will transform into a learning center. So everything around battery management system will be created. So first of all, who are the members? Who are the experts working around battery management system? So I have Carlo, Dan, Leo, Nicola, Colleen, DrM around BMS. And for every person, I have the context, the word around that person. What are the expertise? What are the assets? And what are the articles, the projects, the documents, and the discussions that these persons were involved around it? Then I can switch to the content. So what was the content generated around battery management system? Then I can switch to learning and development. So if I want to move in my career and progress from junior to senior, if I want to plan my learning pathways, so what will be the learning and development? And here is something very interesting. We also create the standards. So because this industry is very regulated, then we create the standards. For example, for battery management system, and if I click on this standard, the ISO 6469, this is the safety specification for rechargeable energy storage system. So this is for the product management, remember? So for the product management to get in compliance and to be in compliance when we design the battery management system. And I can get the metadata, or I can read what is this standard about. I can click on that standard and it will redirect me to the ISO page. And here I find that it was a draft and still not yet approved. So I can see the latest status of that standard. So this is how we can work inside a community, and this is how we can develop and we can create those human expertise. Let me transition to my final slide, or yes, to my final slide, because I want to leave space for more discussions and interactions. Yes, as a summary, so that was the demo. As a summary, what are the takeaway? What is the process to retain from this presentation? There are 4 steps, 4 takeaways. The first one, design your organization so your people, knowledge, and capabilities are 1 degree separated. So here, we want to shift from creating individual expertise, from creating heroes, from creating individual expertise, and create the enterprise expertise. So the organization as a whole, the organization collectively is the organization developing expertise as an entity. So this is how we can create it by aligning people, knowledge, and capabilities, and by separating only with 1 step away, 1 dimension with respect to another. The second step is to secure the flow of expertise for a sustained Kaizen, continuous improvement, by eliminating expertise deficiency moments. This is a concept that we find out and we noticed, expertise deficiency moment. So those moments where there are failures because we lack expertise. So we want to identify those moments. And to do that, we have an activity as part of our methodology. It's called the expertise risk assessment. So we want to find out if we have enough coverage of expertise for that specific activity or topic. So do we have a key person risk? So we have 1 person for this topic. So this is a high risk. We have 1 person for 1 topic, or we have multiple experts who can cover those topics. So high, medium, low. So this is where we identify using social network analysis by understanding the relationships and connectivity and what is the coverage of our expertise. The third activity is share horizontally, Yokoten, through communities. So establish communities, establish catchball dialogues, reciprocal, mutual dialogues, and share the findings, the reasoning, the logic behind those collective actions behind in a community format. The fourth and final takeaway is measurement. So we have developed a health assessment, self-assessment for you, so you can assess your organization to see what are the deviations between people, knowledge, and capabilities, and if your organization is developing expertise on individual basis, creating heroes, or as a collective, as a 1 entity. So we can say the organization is expert, not the individual is expert. And with the help of Colleen, we overlaid and we augmented that assessment with Mandemi. And we have specific questions relating about caring. So the question is not anymore the know why, the know what, the know how. The question now is care why. Is there a motivation for me so I care about the other and then share my knowledge? So it's not anymore about, it's about the socio-technical, the relational aspect of problem solving. Do I care for the other? And this is part of the self-assessment. My question for you, and this is where I will open up the discussion, and this will be the end of our session. My question for you, and this is where we are going to establish our connections and our bridges. To what extent did this session enhance your clarity and understanding of knowledge management concepts? It's to you. Okay, so what is the level of your now understanding? And if you see value between bridging and connecting lean to knowledge, that's my real motivation. Do you see value in connecting those two? And this is my message today. And this is what this question reflects. Do you see this connection? Like it is moderate enhancement for this understanding. It is a strong, a transformational. This is what I care and what I like to know. So please participate. Let me know what your point of view, and we are open to questions, to comments, reactions.
Doc, can we have your, can you mute, I mean, let down your slides, slides, Doc, can we stop sharing a screen, Doc, so that we can?
Stop sharing my screen. Okay. Okay. So you have the link, please, in the chat. Same link. Please continue to answer it, and I will stop my screen.
Yeah, we have, I've requested for 15 more minutes extension of this, if it is okay. I got a couple of thumbs up, so permit me to, because I think on my, which side would it be? Okay, this side, sorry, this side I got Hensai, this side I got Kaizen. So Hensai is for introspection and Kaizen is about
Hensei, my love, Hensei, self-reflection.
and then
Hensei,
you got Kaizen. So whatever you do,
Kaizen,
Hensai,
of
don't leave
course.
it at don't leave it at the conceptual part. You got to work on it. Few words that I have. I have this
Yes, please.
honor, and we have this honor of William Schirkenbach with us since we quoted Deming. Schirkenbach, if many of you know him, others who don't, let me tell you that he was with Deming from 1975 to 1993, if that order is correct. I think he met, correct me, Bill. You can unmute yourself, Bill. He met Deming when Deming was probably 76 years old, and young Bill was 25 or what have you, and then he was with Deming. So last time he taught us something called an acronym called WWDD. What would Deming do? So having listened to what Dr. has said, can we have few words from you? And we are really honored to have you over here. And we are really honored that you took out time early in the morning to join us while it's a family time Sunday for you with your kids and your grandchildren. Thank you very much to join us. So few words from you, some reflection from you that will help all of us.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we
I
can.
think the audio is on. One of the things that I learned from Dr. Deming, as we spoke about theory of knowledge, and that is that, and looking at the philosophical backgrounds of many cultures, knowledge without action is useless, and action without knowledge is very dangerous. I was concerned in the beginning slides. I was looking for action, and it did develop as the presentation went on. I understand that and you had mentioned theory. My worldview is that knowledge is certainly important, but there are physical and emotional frequencies that have to correspond to that. In my second book, I had a graphic that showed that paralleled it paralleled what I'm sure many of you are familiar with when you heard Dr. Deming speak about a process that's in control, and you saw a bunch of normal distributions into the future, and that aids in your ability to predict with some degree of belief, your knowledge was predictable and useful. If it wasn't in control, then you have your knowledge always from my understanding of theory of knowledge, it's always space and time. And so you might make a decision in one time frame and it's not useful in another. Likewise, in one space and not another. As I was beginning to say in my second book, when talking about theory of knowledge, you have your sensory world, taste, hearing, sight, touch, and you have all of those sensory inputs, and you also have logical theories being formed, and you also have emotional reactions. And if those physical, logical, and emotional cues are consistent over time, you have what I broadly would call knowledge, but it includes the emotional and the physical skill, perhaps. If it varies over time and space, then your degree of belief, what do you know? And I'm reminded of a quote. Unfortunately, I can't remember the author, but Daniel Boorstin wrote a number of books, and he said that the biggest barrier to the advancement of knowledge throughout the world has not been ignorance. It's been the illusion of knowledge. Okay, we know a lot that just isn't so. It might be fine for our space and time, but it's not generally applicable. And Dr. Deming, in his work in statistics, in sampling theory, huge learning, because you would do agricultural experiments in Rothamsted, England, and get very good results, but does that work in Mumbai? Different soil, different situation. Does it work anywhere outside of Rothamsted? And the statisticians came up with various ways to better understand and deal with the variation outside of the frame. The important message is that today is, as WWDD would say, we learned, we had fun, and now we need to take action and make a difference. Fly out of the nest.
I'm trying to keep most of them in the nest, Bill, at this point of time. Okay, go ahead. I have extended the time.
Okay, who else? I'd like to learn from you and hear from you.
Honestly,
Dr.
Colleen.
Dr.
Yes,
Najjar,
jump ahead, Colleen.
thank you so much. I do have to leave the meeting, but I really, there are no words to describe how grateful I am for your collaboration, your participation today. These discussions are so meaningful, and I think we can continue as a collaborative, just thought partners in this community to help advance such important discussions. So just my thanks to one's participation today. These are tough. This is just a tough area, and you're doing amazing work. So thank you so much.
Colin, just a word. The concept of mendomi, correct? Am I pronouncing it right? Mendomi?
Mendomi?
Mendomi, yeah. Reminds me of Stephen Covey when he wrote about emotional bank balance in the Seven Habits. That how do you deposit the emotional bank balance? So it's resonated with me with that. So thank you for bringing the concept.
Yeah, and everyone's using different words in different forums
Yeah.
and saying the same thing. So I think it's just
We have to put into action, as Bill said.
And I
to
just wanted to
embrace
thank
that unknowing.
Dr. Rachad in terms of bringing the linkage between the knowledge management and lean, because most of the times we don't even talk about such things, but we always focus in our different disciplines and the tools which are associated with that particular discipline. But when you start linking the knowledge management part of it to the use of when you link it to lean, then automatically you start seeing that you are touching on all different aspects which are making you look at things from a holistic point of view. So thank you very much for that. And Dr. M, thank you so much for organizing this.
Yeah. Thanks, Giri. Anand, are you there? Anand Srivastav. Yeah, Anand, I'm not disclosing your organization, but you've got multiple organizations across India, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me how often do you all in various sites of yours solve many problems which are already solved in a different location and you have no information about it?
Yeah. So I have been associated with one of the largest commercial vehicle manufacturer, and they were having high plants across India. So we used to find out that problem is solved in one plant, but in another plant that information or know-how was not available. So people again used to slog and find out the solution. And similarly, this was going on. But recently, lot of work had been done by putting lot of information on the systems, and now people are working on knowledge management. But at suppliers end, I have found that people are not have enough data bank or system for knowledge management, and people are solving the problems again and again. And when person is going out from the company or organization, then that entire knowledge bank is going out. So these are the practical scenario in companies. I am thankful to Dr. Rachad for providing us such a enlightening session on knowledge management. And thanks to you also for organizing the session.
No. You're not running away from that, Anand. I'm going to send you as to what are you going to implement after you heard Dr. Rachad. Rachad, over to you. As the session is open, and it doesn't matter. It's not even dinner time for me. That whoever wants to keep talking to Doctor, I hope Doctor you're available for another probably 5-10 minutes. Please do take this opportunity to chat with it. So those who are got busy otherwise, I got no problem. One of the things that I learned long time ago, which Sensei taught me, was if you want things to be done, give it to the busiest person. The things will be done. So any questions to Dr. Najjar. Thanks a lot for a good session, Najjar. Kamal, Nathan, Gary, questions? Otherwise, the hour is over, so we can always stop recording.